this probably looks more like the graph you drew by hand, and then we had these two tables and our equations, right? So, looking at all three of these representations right now, what would you say, what is different or what is similar about these two companies?
One's adding 0.5 million.
Okay. Which one is adding $500,000?
Calculate wrong one.
This one, right? So we're adding $500,000. What about for this one?
Multiplying 15%.
Multiplying 15%. So they have different kinds of rate of change, right? We have an additive rate of change and a multiplicative rate of change. Now, with the 15%, while it's increasing 15% each time, we're multiplying by 115%, right? That's where we get the 1.15. So while it's increasing by 15%, each time we're repeatedly multiplying by this 1.15 or 115%.
Really quickly, I do want to point this out. A whole bunch of us do have stuff down for B. If there is anything you are missing, though, that would be a great idea to write it down so that you have something to refer back to later when you are obviously studying for our understanding checks and tests like we all do, right?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Thank you, Gavin. We got one person who does it.
You can't say I haven't made progress.
Oh, I never would have said you haven't made progress. I'm actually super impressed by your progress.
Remember our deal?
No, but I'm sure you'll remind me.
I will, whenever the class is around.
Okay.
So we have these two different types of rate of change, right? We have a multiplicative rate of change and an additive rate of change. That's how they're different. How would we say that they're similar?
They're both increasing every year.
Yeah, they're both increasing, right? They're both increasing their net income. So while they're both increasing their net income, they're increasing them in different ways, right? They're increasing by either adding $500,000 or multiplying by 115%, or increasing by 15%. So that's how these are similar and different. So while looking at that, what did we think? Because I know I saw some differences on this. Which one did we say we should invest in, and why?
Computer Fest.
Computer Fest. Why Computer Fest?
Because they grow by 15% yearly, and as that number gets bigger,
It's still 15%. It's just gonna get you money.
So it's gonna. So we have that multiplicative rate of change of 15% each year, right? We're increasing 15%. So, but on this graph, I see that the calculamas make more money.
that's a short term, man.
It's the short term. So at first, that might be better, but over time, this one is gonna shoot up, isn't it?
Straight up.
Like Kurt Cobain.
Straighter than a line.
Let's not make that joke.
Oh no. Because it's following an exponential function, right? So exponentials, we know that might start off slow, but once you start, well, it's kind of like that dream job salary task, right? It might start slow, but once you
We haven't
start,
done that here yet.
oh, other class.
Yes.
But once you start multiplying,
Oh, no.
they mix together. Once you start multiplying, eventually it's just going to shoot up, almost straight up, right? So they make much more money in the long term.
It never goes down.
Or does it?
I'm scrolling over it. It's not going down.
Well, if you're multiplying by 1.15, because it's above 1, is it going to make it bigger or is it going to make it smaller?
Bigger.
Will it ever make it smaller?
Never, ever,
Never.
ever.
So that's a good question to look at.
So let's go, because we don't have it on here, if y'all could go to this link that we have on the slides, we can look at what that looks like.
Just,
Are you going to put that up there?
Do you have to do the PH?
yeah, so that'll send you straight to a graph that I've already created. Just type it out quickly.
At Fortnite?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, at a fortnight, we found it.
You got it.
So, this is the first thing that popped up online. At MTV Spring Break.
No. No, it's not.
I didn't hear it, and I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's okay to not hear that. Wait, go back.
You don't want anybody.
Hold on, what you doing?
I'm, oh, sorry, hold on.
Why would you do
I don't think they were done typing. No,
They
they're
were
not.
Some of us are still.
No.
I've got taught to type. I'm a chicken picker.
Whoa!
What he say?
Don't worry about it, y'all.
Just
Get to
type
work.
out the link. Caroline, what you doing?
Caroline.
She's catching some trees.
She's asleep.
Yeah, I guess so. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
she's
it.
asleep.
Continue on. She'll be ready for the test, or she won't.
You just fell off the computer.
I do not see no red picture.
Ta-da!
Make sure you typed it out correctly.
I did.
That was instant too.
Holy crap.
I'm calling the
Whoa.
police.
Language.
I love the sight of police. Alright, I'm making it bigger. Can't see anything.
I say here language.
Dot.
Oh,
Hold on, I'm
he's
going back to it.
What's the last? I just need the last digits.
Whoa, this is beautiful.
There you go.
Just kidding, I don't know.
Oh, no, no, no.
I'm gonna let it stop like this.
Scotch.
Man, have you pulled up the website?
It's loading.
Donovan, did you get it pulled up?
This site
And
cannot
it
be
pulled up
reached.
pulled everything up for you?
The internet is going very slow.
Alright, is everyone who's trying to get on there?
This
I'm
site
trying
cannot
to
be
look.
reached.
It looks like the Wi-Fi is struggling.
You better hurry up.
I'm on there?
2.8
Yep,
getting
you're there.
down to 50?
Okay, if you're not there,
So,
I'll
just
just
pay
say
attention.
fair.
Oh, this is so gay.
no ma'am. There are more healthy ways to voice your opinions.
Look,
Stop.
see what I'm loading?
It's the way that you said it.
Oh, that
There we
was
go.
good.
Alright, so, looking at this graph, so this is early on, right? So this, the Calculorama is still making more money early on, but what did we say was gonna happen over time?
What's our
The
code?
other one.
So shoot straight up.
Yeah.
Computer Fest, they're gonna.
PFS is gonna shoot up, right?
Skyrocket.
Bye-bye.
So look at that, once we get past now, what was this, what do we call it, what is this point right here?
I know what it's called. Let me find it. That's the
parallel
Intersect.
And it's where they intersect, right? That's the point of intersection, okay?
Break.
Now, once we hit that,
I thought you said more.
once we hit that point of intersection, what happens?
One goes up, the other continues on its.
I mean, they're both increasing though, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they're both increasing.
But one continues on a linear path. One, yeah.
There you go.
One continues on a linear path and this continues on an exponential path. And so it starts to far surpass the amount of income that the linear function did, right? So that was the right recommendation. Computerfest is gonna make much more money over time. But do you think there's any other spot where these net incomes will once again intersect?
No. False.
Why not?
Because they're growing at different rates.
They're growing at different
The
rates,
only
right?
reason they crossed there was because one
Bring
started
it over
at
here,
lower.
Lauren.
Exactly, so once we get past this point, it's never gonna go back down, like we talked about, it's never gonna get smaller. So they're never gonna intersect again.
Intersection.
Hey, man, I'm gonna kill it.
So what did we think about looking at concrete versus, or discrete versus continuous? What do we think about, I don't know if all of us finished E, but let's start to think about, what do we think about E as far as whether it's better to look at a discrete model or a continuous model?
I said, I don't know.
Not sure?
Continuous helps point out intersections.
Okay, so we're looking at continuous, which is what we're looking at right now. You can pretty definitively see this point of intersection, right?
Just pay attention.
Will we have been able to see that if we're looking at discrete?
No. Not as clearly.
Not as clearly. It would have been very extremely difficult.
Actually, here, one thing to note about Desmos, once you make a table, if you just continue it out, it'll keep giving you those points. Nope, go away.
Yeah, so now we can't really see exactly where that point of intersection is, right? We know it's in here somewhere, but we don't know exactly where. So that one advantage to continuous is that we can see the exact point of intersection. What about in our situation when we're making money? Do we think, what's the primary difference between continuous and discrete?
Continuous is always making money.
Discrete's like multiple paychecks.
Exactly, so
Yeah.
looking at realistically like discrete, we made, this amount of money by this month, and then the next month after that we made that amount of money, right? That's a little more, you could say that could be a little bit more realistic in a way, depending on how you wanna look at it. But continuous, we're technically making money constantly through all of these points, right? We're making money in between all of the discrete points. So that's just a difference in, so with continuous, you're making money, you are literally making money continuously, constantly or continuously, it's kind of why it's called that. That profit is continuous, you are continuously making that amount of money. Discrete, you're looking at, I think this was year by year, right, or month by month, depending on how you want to do the table, but we're looking at you're making money yearly. Which that could end up being a little more realistic. So think about, do you think you make, if a company makes a certain amount of money a year, do you think they're making the exact same amount of money every day or every month of that year?
Yes.
You think so?
No.
No? Well, you say yes, you say no. What do you think?
Well, I can go into Dick's and buy the whole store, but that ain't gonna happen every day.
Exactly. Dick's might have like, back to school or like with sports startup, a lot more people are gonna be buying stuff. But once some of that stuff isn't going on, they might have a month where they don't have as many sales. So, but at the end of the year, they made a certain amount of money. So that's one advantage to discrete, is that in certain situations it could be a little bit more realistic or further show a little bit more accurately how profit is shown of the year.
Another example of that, if you think, and I just thought about this, if you're thinking like a heating and cooling company, when are they gonna make the most money?
Summer.
Summer and
Summer for the cooling side,
winter, and winter for the other one.
and then are they gonna make as much money during spring and fall?
Yeah.
No. So, in the truest sense, is it really is it continuously happening at that same rate of change throughout the entire year? Well, no, but that rate of change each year might be the same.
And so,
Supply and demand style.
Yeah.
and then the other primary difference between continuous and discrete is the domain, right?
Yeah.
So let's think about, if you want to talk about how you can differently express the domains between looking
Yes.
at it continuously versus looking at it discretely.
Okay, so we already hit D, so we're on to E.
We're on the E right now.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
So, really quickly, just as a reminder for these things, does anyone remember the different notations we can use for domain?
Real,
There are the real numbers, that is one of the parts.
whole,
Whole numbers is another part of it.
Natural.
So there is the
set,
set notation,
interval.
and there's interval notation.
They're all wrong.
Okay? Now, when we look at discrete functions, one of these two we cannot use. Does anyone
I
remember
remember
which one we
this.
cannot use with discrete?
Hmm.
Interval.
Why do you say interval?
Because that's just a good guess.
Okay.
Don't use it at all. I've seen us do more of the segmentation and have interval.
Well,
Interval.
if I were to say 0 to 10, which numbers, so that's interval notation, a minimum to a maximum, which numbers am I talking about when I say 0 to 10?
Real.
The ones in between it.
Everything in between, which is the real number system. So can this go for discrete or continuous or both?
Continuous.
So remember, discrete would be like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But if I say 0 to 10, am I only hitting those numbers?
Now you're hitting all the way up to 10.
You're hitting all of the numbers, every decimal, every fraction of a number, all the way up to 10. So can we use interval notation for discrete?
No.
No. So be aware and make sure you understand interval. That's a big no-no, don't do it.
And
Right?
that's why we use
Just
set notation more, so it goes all the way. That's right.
Yeah, so discrete, we can use the set notation. Does anyone remember how we write this set notation? What's the first part of it?
The set of x when x.
So what do we use to indicate that's the set of x?
The
A
curly
curly
keys.
bracket.
Those curly brackets.
Those are little e's.
Alright, so the set of x, what comes after that?
A bar.
A line, that's the when, right? W-H-E-N, the set of x when.
X is the element.
Now, if we're talking about the discrete, like think about it, we'd be talking about years 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what we're talking about when we say discrete, right? Every year. What kind of numbers are we looking at if it's 0, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth?
That's your whole numbers.
Whole numbers. So it's the set of x when x is an element of the whole numbers.
And then an E.
Well, that's the E right here.
No, I meant the little close thing.
Oh, curly brackets. Now, we'll say this, you could even do it another way. It's the set of x when x is an element of the integers. But integers covers positives and negatives. So I would just then have to say x is greater than or equal to 0. Notice there's multiple options. Those indicate the same thing. You need to make sure you have notes on this. Right? They both indicate 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Just different ways to write it.
It's in 2.1.
Say again.
So it's in 2.1.
What about 2.1?
Nothing, never
I
mind.
mean, we defined all these things there. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Yes. But you also should have notes about it here so you can refer back to it later. But continuous, right? Continuous would mean that we're doing everything. What is the lowest domain value possible based on what we've done?
0.
0. Should I put a bracket or a parenthesis on it?
Bracket. 0. 0 for parenthesis.
What's
Bracket.
the difference?
Brackets number can be equal to number.
The bracket, you can equal that number. Can we equal 0 years?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can have 0 years. 0 years, $5 million or $2 million. Now, technically, we didn't ever say a time for it to stop, so what would it go all the way out to?
Infinity.
Bracket or parenthesis on that?
Bracket.
Can you equal infinity?
No, you can't.
Okay, as an interval notation, it'd be the set of x. When it's continuous, what number set are we dealing with?
Continuous.
Which would be the
Real.
reals. But again, can we have negative years?
We can.
So the x is greater than or equal to? Okay? You need to make sure that you have a picture of that or something like that. If you did not do the homework over the weekend, the 8,
And 13. something.
numbers 3,
Yeah, that.
and was it 17 and 18? You really took a picture of
About
it.
15. I thought it said something about 15.
Whatever the homework over the weekend is, I will be collecting it tomorrow as an accuracy check. I don't remember what else it was. So look at your homework from Friday. Yeah, do you know what it was? Or is that what you're trying to take a picture of?
Make sure you smile then.
Thanks.
Hey, our deal was if I put in the effort, you would change my first 9 weeks grade.
Oh yeah, that's a deal I made with everyone.
Well, we talked about it separately.
We did.
I get it, Mr. Kenny, I'm just one of your toys.
That's not it. Hey, hold up. Gavin, do you need the homework?
Sir?
Do you need the homework?
Oh, I just took a picture of it.
There was more to it than just that. That's why I'm coming over here to pull it up.
I never wrote on it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be like housing it.
Wait on me, McKay. Wait on me, McKay.
Yeah, and I should have my binder back tomorrow.
That's good. We need the homework.
No, that's not.
Yeah, we did take pictures of it. No homework. Why does it smell like
That's why. That was what it was originally supposed to be.
I gotta go pick up a weird middle school. It just happens to live in my house.
Go 15 and 19.
Right now?
Yeah, I gotta go.
It smells like pickle.
Alan, have you already done this homework?
No, sir.
And make sure you take a picture of this.
I do believe I already took a picture of it yesterday.
You mean over the weekend?
Friday? Yeah.
So make sure you get it done.
So, yeah, I'm gonna imagine that. That's been a long time.
Yeah. I thought I was like, oh man, we didn't prep that at all.
I forgot my
Yes. You probably want that.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at that in a while.
Hey, can you stop the recording? I forgot to do that.
There you go.
Yeah, I just wanna let you go.